What's the shadiest thing that a family member has ever done to you? My brother promised to protect me, but instead he took everything and left me empty. I always believed my brother was my biggest shield. Growing up, he was my protector. Whenever kids bullied me at school, he stood tall like a wall in front of me. When I had nightmares as a child, he would sit beside me until I fell asleep. He used to tell me, "Don't worry, I'll always look after you." For years, I held on to those words like they were sacred. But words are fragile when actions turn poisonous. When our father passed away, the world already felt broken. The grief was heavy, and all I wanted was for us to stay united as a family. Dad left behind a house, nothing luxurious, but it was home. His will was simple. Both of us were to share it. I thought it was fair, thought it was enough to keep his memory alive in both of us. But one morning, I drove to the house only to find my key didn't work. The locks had been changed. My brother stepped outside, arms crossed, and coldly said, "Dad wanted me to have this. You don't need it." I froze. His voice wasn't the brother I knew. It was sharp, almost rehearsed, like he had been waiting to say it. He had already moved in, already claimed every corner, already erased my presence. It felt like I lost my father all over again, but this time, I lost my brother too. I tried to fight. I got lawyers involved. But he played dirty. He told relatives I was greedy and only cared about money. He sold Dad's collectibles, the old baseball cards, the vintage watch, even the letters Dad wrote to Mom when they were young. Things you couldn't replace, things that carried the smell of memory. He cashed them in like they were meaningless. The lawsuit lasted almost 2 years. In the end, I forced a payout, but it was hollow. Sure, I got money, but I lost something deeper. My trust in him was shattered like glass on the floor. Family dinners turned into battlefields. Holidays became unbearable. Our mother cried, begging us to reconcile. But how do you reconcile with betrayal? The twist came last year. I found out from a neighbor that my brother sold the house too. The home where Dad raised us, gone to strangers. The place where every corner held laughter, arguments, and warmth. It's now just someone else's property. My brother didn't even tell me. I heard about it like gossip in the street. Now when people talk about family, I smile politely, but inside I ache. Because the one person I thought would always protect me turned out to be the one who destroyed me. Next story. My aunt promised to build my future, but instead, she stole my identity and destroyed me. When I was 19, I trusted my aunt more than anyone outside my parents. She always seemed supportive, always saying she wanted me to succeed. She told me I was the smart one of the family and offered to help me build credit so my future would be easier. I was young, naive, and believed every word. She asked for my social security number, saying she'd set up a credit account for me and pay it off each month. I thought it was a gift, a step toward adulthood. I had no idea it was the start of my nightmare. A few months later, I began receiving strange letters in the mail. At first, I ignored them, but then came envelopes marked past due. Credit cards I had never opened, a furniture store account I had never visited, even a small loan I had never requested. My stomach sank. I sat at the kitchen table with shaking hands as I opened each bill. My aunt had stolen my identity and racked up almost $15,000 in debt under my name. When I confronted her, she broke down in fake tears, swearing it was a mistake. She said she only did it because she was struggling and promised she would fix it. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and nothing was fixed. Instead, she disappeared for long stretches, dodging my calls, while I fought alone to clear my name. The shame was heavy. I was barely old enough to drink, but I already had destroyed credit. I remember one call with a bank representative. I cried, explaining I was only a teenager, begging them to understand. But rules were rules. Clearing fraud wasn't easy. I spent years repairing the damage, while my aunt lived like nothing happened. She'd show up at family gatherings in new clothes, laughing loudly, acting as though she hadn't ruined me. The twist? My mom begged me not to press charges. She said, "She's family. You'll regret it if you send her to jail." So I stayed silent. I carried the scars, while my aunt carried no consequences. The saddest part is not the money or the ruined credit. It's the betrayal. I trusted her. I believed her. Now, even with my accounts fixed, the paranoia never left me. I check my statements daily, terrified someone else will rip away what little stability I have left. And whenever I see my aunt smile, all I see is the shadow of the person who stole my future. Next story. My cousin said he needed shelter, but instead he stole my wedding fund and happiness forever. When my fiancé and I got engaged, it felt like a dream. We didn't have much, but we had love and a plan. We worked extra shifts, skipped vacations, and saved every spare penny in a little lockbox hidden in my closet. It wasn't the smartest system, but it felt safe, until my cousin moved in. He came with excuses. saying he just needed a couple of weeks to get back on his feet. I believed him. He was family. He had nowhere else to go. I gave him a roof, a bed, and food. What I didn't know was that he would take something far greater. One day, I went to count the money for our venue deposit, and my heart sank. The envelope inside the box was thin, too thin. I told myself maybe I miscounted last time, but the next week, it was thinner still. Finally, almost empty. My cousin swore up and down he knew nothing, his eyes full of fake innocence, until I searched his room and found receipts, sneakers, video games, even a stupid gold chain. He had stolen almost $3,000, our wedding fund. When I confronted him, he didn't even look ashamed. He said, "You'll be fine. Just save again. I needed it more." My fiancée was devastated. We had to delay our wedding by a year. All those nights we sacrificed for a future together were destroyed because of his selfishness. The twist came at the delayed wedding. My cousin showed up, uninvited. He walked in like he belonged there, smiling, as if nothing happened. My blood boiled, but family members begged me not to make a scene. They whispered, "It's your big day. Don't ruin it with drama." So I stood there pretending everything was fine, while the man who stole our happiness sat eating free food. Even now, I don't speak to him. But every anniversary, I can't help but remember, our dream was delayed, our joy stolen, and the thief was my own family. Next story. My mother said she loved me, but she used me like a bank and left me broken. When I was in college, money was always tight. I worked 2 jobs, one in the cafeteria, one at a bookstore, just to pay my tuition and rent. My mother always complained about bills, so when she suggested we open a joint emergency account, I thought it was a good idea. She said we'd both contribute, and it would be a safety net. I wanted to help her, and I wanted us to be secure. For months, I deposited a chunk of every paycheck into that account. I skipped dinners out, skipped new clothes, even skipped textbooks, just to save. I felt proud, responsible. Until one day, I checked the balance and nearly fainted. Thousands of dollars were gone, withdrawn in cash. My mother had been using the money not for emergencies, but for salon trips, designer handbags, and even a vacation I couldn't afford to take. When I confronted her, her response pierced my heart. She said, "I gave you life. You owe me." She looked me straight in the eye as if that ended the conversation. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to ask how a mother could do that. But all I could do was cry. I closed the account immediately. That led to endless fights. She called me selfish, ungrateful, accused me of choosing money over family. Relatives took her side, telling me to be patient and she's your mother, forgive her. But forgiveness felt impossible. I was drowning in student debt, exhausted from working, and the one person I trusted most treated me like a personal ATM. The twist came later. I learned she told extended family that I had stolen from her. That's why she spent the money, to replace what I took. Lies upon lies, layered until even some cousins believed her. My reputation crumbled in the eyes of people I loved. Now, years later, I still talk to my mother. But something inside me is permanently broken. I love her, but I don't trust her. The bondee we once had has cracks so deep, I know they will never heal.